Hello, Council. Today's topic is a candid look at the qualities that make for a terrible arbitrator. Yes, we're going to dive into what separates an outstanding arbitrator from, well, the worst ones out there. Arbitrators hold the fate of disputes in their hands, so it's crucial they bring not just knowledge but also ethics, commitment, and focus to the table. When any of these falls short, arbitration falls short. Let's get into the first and probably the most important issues: lack of impartiality and neutrality. The arbitrator who lacks neutrality. You would think neutrality and impartiality would be a given in international arbitration, but sometimes it's not. One of the biggest pitfalls occurs when a party appointed arbitrator feels they need to advocate for the party who appointed them. This is a major mistake. The role of an arbitrator is to be impartial regardless of who appointed them. The worst arbitrators fail in this regard. They come into the proceedings with a preconceived notion or bias, which completely undermines the integrity of the arbitration. The tribunal's legitimacy depends on all members being neutral and deciding cases based on the merits, not because one arbitrator is subtly leaning toward one side. Sometimes this lack of neutrality arises because an arbitrator may have a personal or professional relationship with one of the parties. Other times, it's more subtle. Perhaps the arbitrator holds strong personal views on a particular issue that prevents them from being open-minded. Whatever the cause, an arbitrator lacking neutrality is a disaster waiting to happen. The arbitrator who isn't available. This brings me to the second type of worst arbitrator, the one who simply doesn't have the time. An arbitrator who is too busy to give a case the proper attention is a nightmare for both parties. We've all seen arbitrators who take on too many cases, perhaps because they want to increase their reputation or financial gain. But overcommitting leads to delays, missed deadlines, and a lack of attention to detail. Parties expect their arbitrators to be available for conferences, hearings, and discussions. And most importantly, they expect timely decisions. When an arbitrator is too busy, the arbitration process slows to a crawl. Delays caused by an arbitrator's unavailability frustrates the parties and can lead to significant cost. Even worse is when a busy arbitrator doesn't review the case files thoroughly or takes weeks to respond to a simple procedural questions. An arbitrator should never be the cause of procedural delays, and when they are, it quickly becomes one of the most significant sources of frustration. The arbitrator who lacks expertise. Next on the list is the arbitrator who lacks the necessary expertise. Arbitrators are often selected because they have specific knowledge or experience in the area of the dispute. If they don't have the right background or understanding, they can quickly become overwhelmed, leading to poor decision making. An arbitrator who doesn't understand the issues, the legal framework, or the business context can make the arbitration process incredibly inefficient. This is particularly true in complex disputes. Think about this. Would you want an arbitrator in a highly technical patent disputes who has no knowledge of intellectual property law? Absolutely not. Expertise matters. This brings us to the unprepared arbitrator. There are few things worse than realizing that the person overseeing your case isn't prepared. Imagine walking into a hearing and watching the arbitrator flip through documents they clearly haven't reviewed, or worse, fall asleep during the session. Yes, it happens. An unprepared arbitrator fails to do their homework and comes to hearings without an in-depth understanding of the facts or legal arguments. This lack of preparation leads to poor decisions and undermines the confidence both parties have in the arbitration process. Well, that's it for today. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll cover even more traits of the worst arbitrators.